Heather says, I can definitely appreciate someone who knows their way around SMD components. Heather, say no more. This man right here, this is a catch. This is a catch. He's charming. He's got manners. He wears a beanie. Okay, I mean, forget the fact that he wears a beanie. That probably works against him. He's from Staten Island. Sure, wait, that also works against him. Fuck. He's single, and he works here. He fixes boards. Find out who took the Ethernet cord away and hang them. Hey, everybody, how's it going? So here we have an A1706 that is not turning on. It says no power. Let's take a look and see what's going on with it. All right, so what we're going to do with this is the same that I do with all of them. Going to unplug the battery. Plug in the USB-C charger with a USB-C amp meter and see what it does. 5 volts, 10 milliamps, stuck. So it never negotiates 20 volts with the USB-C charger. Alright, so we're stuck at 5 volts. Let's see if we can figure out why that is. Let's take the board out of the case. This is a considerably larger pain in the ass to take the board out of the case than the MacBook Air, because you got screws under stuff, and you have T3 screws and T5 screws, because it totally makes sense to use 2 different types of screws on one motherboard. It's a great idea. It wasn't complicated enough. It's not bad enough that when you take the bottom cover off this machine, it cuts your fingers. You've got to use multiple different types of screws, just to make sure the person opening it feels extra valued. No, John, and I'm not going to for an absolute minimum of 1 to 2 years. Because for the firstly, people treat their stuff nice when they first get it. They don't treat it like shit. And it's kind of like shoes. People don't treat it like shit until they start getting scuffs on them. And then they treat it like shit and it eventually breaks. And that takes about a year to do. And B, the parts are not going to be available. So the supply chains, it usually takes 1 or 2 years for this stuff to be available. So when they released the MacBook Air, they released the A1369 and MacBook Air in 2010, and they released the A1466 MacBook Air in 2012. They both use the same screen. That screen was not available to me until summer of 2013. I shit you not. And that was back when I had a lot of supply contacts from running the supply company. That was back when I had access to a lot of LG distributors in South Korea and Taipei. Most of the people think that stuff originates in China, but when it comes to LCD screens, it's usually Taipei. And that was 3 years. 3 years after the machine was released for me to just be able to buy a screen for it. So a lot of people have this misconception that I can get stuff immediately. He was there, I started to cry, I think, says Rockford. Why would you cry over Tim Cook? Yeah, a lot of people think that as soon as something comes out, I have parts. I don't care, because when something is new, nothing's available, or the stuff that's available is only used pulls from machines that people bought at retail, which means that the prices are insane, which means it doesn't make sense. It's like when a new iPhone comes out and people say, are you fixing the iPhone 12 yet? No. The screen is going to cost me $400 part by itself. If I quote even half that to a customer, they're going to tell me to go fuck myself, so there's just no point. Like, I remember when the iPhone 5 came out, and people were competing to be the first to offer screen repairs on it. This one company was buying the screens for, I think, $205 or $249 and offering a screen repair for $300. Why? It's just this big dick contest that makes no sense. I'm not going to buy a screen for $200 so that I have to offer a $250 or $300 screen repair to the customer, which is it's going to make them tell me to go F myself. There's no point in that. It's complete and utter waste. I'd rather just say I don't have it. For the 16-inch MacBook, I don't expect to be able to get screens for that until 2021. I don't expect the schematic or board view to be out for that machine until at least 2021. That's the business. Not to fix, just out of interest. Well, in order to get that machine to open it out of interest rather than to fix, I would have to purchase one for $3,000 from the Apple Store. Do I look like someone that has such interest in Apple products that when they come out, I spend $3,000 to open them because Apple products interest me that much? Really? Yeah, I love Apple products so much that I spend $3,000 out of pocket just for the privilege of opening it. That's not happening. So we're close to ready to get this thing out of here. Okay. Now, the charge port, I like to keep it screwed into the motherboard itself for a good reason. The charge ports come out of the board really easy. It's not like the old ones where they slide in. It's these stupid FPC snap-in connectors. And the cable itself is very, very rigid. And the charging cables are very rigid, so they come off really easy. I'm an apple sheep, says Rockford. No, you're not. Don't say that. Don't be a sheep for anybody. So to keep me sane, I like to have the charge port screwed into the board when I work on it. So when I take the board out, the charge port is screwed onto the board. It makes life easy for me. So now we can take the machine, take all these little screws. I can take these screws and put them in a bag. All these stupid little metal covers and plastic covers and other junk so that it doesn't get lost. Goes here. The machine goes off my desk. We just keep the board by itself. And let's get to work and do our job. So we plug it in again. And we're going to do some basic measurements. Nothing crazy. So the first thing that we measure for, I want to see if we're getting pip3v3_G3 hot. Where is my pip3v3_G3 hot? That's the rail that's going to power these chips called CD3215s. Now, the CD3215 is a chip that speaks to the charger and requests 20 volts from the charger. These chips are powered by PP3v3_G3 hot. So if that power rail is not there, I'm not going to get a green light. I mean, I'm not going to get 20 volts in the charger. Same shit. Same concept. That's the rail that has to show up first. So we're going to look at the board right here. This is a CD3215. PP3v3_G3 hot should be available on one of those caps right by it, right there. So let's take a look. And, oh, this is interesting. Doesn't look very nice down there. Doesn't look very nice down there. It does not look very nice down there at all. Sounds like half of my dates from the end of 2018. Okay. So it's plugged in, and on PP3v3_G3 hot, we get 27 millivolts. Now I can't tell if this is corrosion or dirt. It's really hard to tell, actually. Is this corrosion or dirt? Is this corrosion or dirt? Or just underfilled stuff? This cap very commonly corrodes. Liquid loves to get in this little corner. This Hall sensor, I don't know. Is that just Apple quality solder joints, or is this... Because here's the thing. When I see stuff like this, it looks like it could have been corroded. You may think it's corrosion, and I would wonder, where's the green stuff? Well, there's no green stuff, so that would mean it was cleaned. But if it was cleaned, it wouldn't be this dusty. Now, perhaps it got corroded, then it was cleaned, and then that same person that had the wherewithal to clean their machine got all this dust in it again. I don't believe it. What was the most stupid scum customers? I don't mean to be rude. I don't have the ability to answer that. I forget the experience the moment they walk out of the store. I'm serious. When I have an aggravating customer experience, the way that I maintain my sanity is I just don't remember it. Now, if Steve says, you remember this thing, and he starts to tell the story, I remember it, then I'll remember it. But the moment I'm done dealing with a jackass on the phone or here, it leaves my mind. I don't let it, I don't let it take up space in my head. Because if I did, I would lose my mind, and I wouldn't be able to get anything done, and I would hate the world and hate humanity. And the only way you can really stay in a service business for a long time is if you retain the good experiences, but you just forget the bad ones. I forget most of them, to be honest with you. So let's just see why it is we're missing PP3v3_G3 hot. So let's go to the chip that makes it. This is going to be the circuit that creates PP3V3 underscore G3 HUT. Let's get that under the microscope here. This chip. Okay, so the first thing we want to do, see if it's being told to make that power rail. So we have it over here. We have a bunch of different things on this chip, and it says over here, PMEN P3V3 G3 hot. EN is going to stand for enable. Hopefully you can see that. There you go. Enable. EN right there. So let's see what we get on pin 10. All right, let's see if we got our enable. It's going to be the pin that's up here. .03 millivolts. Isn't that great? All right, see where that enable comes from. We go in the schematic in the board view. We'll use Paul Daniels' lovely software to right-click on that enable and see that it comes from U7000. U7000 is an ISL 9239, similar to what the ISL 6259 used to do on the older model MacBooks. Let's take a look at that chip and see what it looks like. Also very clean. Let's see what happens if we re-hot that chip. If it doesn't, we can always try replacing it. Christian said 1010 would if I were a girl. That's reassuring. All right. Let's give that chip some re-hotting action. Okay, plug it in. 5 volts, 10 milliamps. That ISL 9239 is bad. We need to replace it with a new one. And where can we get a new chip? Store.rossmangroup.com. Okay, we're going to get rid of that chip. And after we get rid of that chip, we're going to put on a nice new one. From store.rossmangroup.com. When you rent, you're paying the property taxes anyway. I don't pay property tax, I pay rent. Now, maybe what you mean to say is that the issue of property tax is included in my rent, but I've looked at a lot of places, and even the ones that are even, a quarter of the way decent, even the stuff that's barely, you're still paying a ridiculous amount of money. Like, I pay $2,000 a month, and I have 1,100 square foot apartment, and it takes me 11 minutes to get to work in Manhattan, which is a ridiculously good commute. I'm spoiled there with the commute, but I'm very spoiled with my commute. How many people that pay $2,000 a month for 1,100 square feet have an 11-minute commute into Manhattan? But if I wanted to buy a house, I would be looking at spending... Let's say I got a $600,000 house. I'd go to a 40-minute commute. I'd have a $10,000 to $20,000 property tax, and I'd probably have a shittier conditioned space than I have now. It doesn't make sense at all. Depends on the home that you get, Pink Sinner. There are places you can get where the property tax is only around 10,000, but you're really scraping the bottom of the barrel there. Like those places are going to be gutter trash, and you're going to be spending $1,000 to $2,000 in your mortgage for it after putting a down payment. At which point you're paying as much as I do now, and it just doesn't make any damn bit of sense. So. Oh, geez. Oh, jeez. Oh, come on. No, 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 no. For the last time, no. 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 No, 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 no. We have this no button here, and every time you hit it, it says no in different ways. I'm channeling it right now. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. For the last time. I don't know if that's a piece of the last chip that broke off when I removed it, or a piece of the last chip that broke off when that chip itself broke. But you can see these glass-looking chips are ridiculously delicate. And on the end of my X-Acto knife, there's actually a piece of what I believe is the old chip. For the last time, no! Alright, 600 milliamps. That means that we're getting a different response than before, which is great. But it never goes to 20 volts. Also, 600 milliamps is way more than 200. That's strange. That's actually very strange. It doesn't make sense. This is no good. Okay. What the F? Someone said chip is upside down. Is it? No way. No. No. Oh, son of a... Uh-oh.
Where did you send people to?
That's an excellent... That's a quality troll right there. He waited until after I powered it on to do that. That's 11-star trolling right there. When the chip is on the board, say it's upside down. So I put the old chip on my mat, and I put the old chip on my mat upside down, apparently. Luckily, how much damage could you possibly do at 5 volts? Nah, I'm fine. I'm fine. We tried to tell you. You just said it now. You were all talking about property taxes before. You just wanted to see something smoke. Let's be honest. That's fine. I understand it. Alright, be right back. Gonna grab another one. Yeah. Thank you, Lord Haven. Thank you very much. I hope you have a happy holiday. Filled with honest contractors and void of property taxes and Karens and real estate brokers. Rapid cool technology. Alright, I have a good feeling about this. When the chip was on upside down, it took 600 milliamps. I only needed to take 200 milliamps. Anything's better than what it was taking before. You piece of fucking shit. We're literally right where we started. 10 milliamps. If we are handy, email Dan at rossmangroup.com and ask him why we're out of stuff when he's the inventory man. We should be out of nothing. Ever. Okay, so let's see. Is this still... really? We're still missing an enable? Nice dodge. Okay, we have 5 volts. Wait, so if we have 5 volts there, do we have PP3V3? No. Where's PP3V3? That's bullshit. No, 20 volts. This is this stream is a fucking troll. Nothing's gonna work for me this evening, is it? You effing piece of shit. Okay, let's see. So over here, we have 5 volts on the enable for PP3V3 underscore G3 hot. All right, let's go over this like an infant. We have to do this very quickly because I want to get the fuck out of here and get some food. All I had today was a Westville sandwich and some frozen shit. I could use some food. So, D6902, what do we have here? On the output, what's on output? 5 volts, so 5 volts would definitely be going into my chip. Alright, what do we have over here on L6900, or actually R6915? Let's see what we got there. Zero. 0.03, 0.05. Alright, that's enough that I think I may actually have a short. And look at that, 1.8 ohm short. And I know exactly what the fuck is shorted. It's a little piece of shit from before that always dies right by the NAND. Oh, I should have tweezed you off when I had the chance, you bastard. It's you. It's you, you despicable piece of shit.
You know what I like to do?
What?
I grab this snipping bit, and I bend the shield forward.
Rip.
I already picked it up.
Yeah, you little fuck. Fuck you. And fuck your family.
Always I can.
Every damn time, I know. Every damn time. Alright, so this is interesting. We had 2 problems with this board. The first problem was that our ISL 9239 went bad. And the second is that little cap that likes to hide right underneath this shield for the NAND also died. That cap is a very common culprit to cause PP3V3 underscore G3 hot to become short-circuited. Very common on the A20-00239 motherboard. And I want to point it out because you may actually miss this in the thermal camera. You see this piece of metal? Even if you have a thermal camera, the thermal camera is going to reflect a lot of anything that's metal. And the capacitor over here is going to get hot, but you're not going to think that it's bad because you're going to have this metal piece over here, and this metal piece over here is going to be in the way, so you won't see it. And if you use the thermal camera as your main means of finding the short, you're not going to get it. So now that PP3v3_G3 hot's no longer shorted, this chip over here is going to be allowed to speak to the charger and negotiate 20 volts with it, and then it's going to be able to get the power it needs to power the system. Because remember, 5 volts is not good enough. 5 volts is for charging a cell phone. 5 volts is for charging a GoPro. That's not going to do anything. But that's what it puts out initially, just because this is a charging protocol that works with many different things. If you send 5 volts to something expecting 20, nothing bad's going to happen. If you send 20 volts to something expecting 5, something terrible is going to happen. So obviously it's going to start at the lowest common denominator, which is 5 volts, because that's not going to blow up everything else. Once you got 5 volts, it's going to allow the system to create a rail called PP3v3_G3 hot, and that rail is going to power this chip over here. See where it says VN 3.3 volts? That's going to power this chip, which is a USB-C port controller, and that USB-C port controller is going to speak to the charger. So if we go to the other side of the machine, over here you'll see that this is where the charge port plugs in. See, if I look at you on the desk, see this right here? This is the charge port. This is where it plugs in. This is the charge port, right where it plugs in, that connector. So if we click right over here, you'll see, bam, it speaks to the chip. So the charger is going to speak to the machine via the CD3215 USB-C port controller. And that chip needs to be turning on in order for the system to work, which means PP3v3_G3 out must be present, which means it must be getting enabled by the U7000, aka ISL9239, which also means PP3v3_G3 out must be present, as well as not being short-circuited to ground, which means taking off the little cap right by the NAND on the bottom of the CD3215 as it's on the right side, and then the system works again. You have a working MacBook, and happy customer, some money in your pocket. That's it for today. As always, I hope you learned something. See you in the next video. Bye.